If I could cast John in any role and it wasn't Mr. Bean, I would probably say James Bond. He is the consummate, suave, refined Englishman with a lot of tricks up his sleeve.
John would either be Bob Barker, The Price is Right, or Monty Hall, Let's Make a Deal.
Charlton Heston as Moses in the Ten Commandments. I can see John just standing on top of a rock, the burning bush, parting of the seas, all things I'm sure John could actually accomplish.
It would definitely be a Caesar. I'd love to be able to see him with one of those laurel wreaths around his head. I think that's something where probably should be wearing one of those anyways.
I would cast him as Yoda. He speaks softly, sometimes in riddles.
Has to be Indiana Jones. You go everywhere, you get an iconic hat, you get a whip, and nobody complains, and you always get the girl. So I'm going with Indy. My early years, I started off with being educated by nuns. Then in my high school, I went to a largely Jewish high school. So by the time I was 15, I had a PhD in guilt, which was only assuaged actually when I went to university, which was a great place. It was a wonderful transition for me. The head of the college on our first day said that this was the last time in our lives where we could act like children and be treated like adults. So I took full advantage. And in order of priority, my college career was about chasing girls, playing football, drinking beer, and getting a degree. I had some success at all four, I have to say. I didn't start out in the brokerage industry. I actually started out in the appraisal industry, and I was there for almost 10 years. It only took me 10 years to figure out that brokers worked half as hard as I did and made twice as much money, so I instantly switched over to brokerage after only a decade.
When I first met him, he did have a full head of hair, a dark beard, but I remember distinctly John pulling me aside, and he said to me point blank, he said, look, if you have a little gray hair, if your hair is receding, people will take you more seriously, you'll look older, you'll be able to actually expand your career that much quicker. And as you can see, I've followed that advice ever since. In fact, I may be even a little bit ahead of John.
It was a Friday, so it was casual Fridays in an investment bank, which are kind of rare anyways. And there's John with a blue shirt unbuttoned down, probably 3 buttons down with a gold chain and a big pendant hanging down. And I thought, for a guy to roll up his sleeves, really get in the trenches, I figured this would be a guy I'd love to be able to work with.
When I first got to CBRE about 3 years ago, my first day here, I wrote John a note, and the note said, I really don't know what you did in a previous life to deserve working with not one but 2 more Sudis, but it must have been really, really bad.
I'm a deal junkie. I always have been. I like adrenaline. I like the adrenaline rush of doing a deal.
Came across as casual at times, but he was a fierce competitor. He wanted to win, as did I.
I haven't seen a real estate forum not led, moderated, or run by John O'Brien.
John had a unique ability. He could go into 4 meetings in a day and just pick up little snippets of information about the market or trends, and somehow weave that into a fabulous presentation the next day.
It doesn't really matter what he says. You just find yourself nodding because he sounds so good.
I was sitting next to one of my colleagues at one of the real estate forums, and John was up speaking brilliantly. And my colleague leans over to me and says, you know, John has no idea what he's saying. And I said, it doesn't matter, they're eating it up anyway.
As for insights into the market, you know, I'm not really sure whether John knows anything about real estate, but he certainly knows everything about everything else.
Mentoring is probably the thing that's given me the greatest satisfaction in my career. If I ever were to form a religion, I'd form it around that movie, Pay It Forward, because I think that that encompasses actually what you need to do in a career to make sure that next generation has that sort of, that momentum to go forward.
What John taught me as a mentor not only was the integrity, but the value of relationship, the value of partnerships, and the value of work ethic.
He taught me several things that are obviously pretty huge. The importance of integrity, the importance of approaching situations with intelligence, and the importance of your reputation. And of course, the thing that really stuck with me with John, and I would say this is probably the most important thing, is that humility is a bit of an underrated virtue in the advisory business. And that's something that he approaches every day with.
He was always a guy I could call, not only for information on the industry and on deals and things of that nature, but on career advice and just life advice. And always generous with his time.
A leader has many attributes. A leader is forced to make decisions. A leader has to have time. A leader has to show you direction. A leader has to have compassion.
The fact that he's so good with strategy, so good with deals, so good on the investment side, so good with his market analysis, and I think everyone knows that.
He certainly helped me avoid many pitfalls and been instrumental in a lot of the highlights of my career.
I can say confidently that I wouldn't be where I am today without his mentorship and advisory work throughout the course of the last 10 years.
I think I could walk into any boardroom, walk into any firm in our industry and find a friend. And that, I think, comes from dealing fairly with people over a long period of time.
John, in closing, I want to wish you the very best and congratulations on winning the NAIOP Lifetime Achievement Award.
We want to congratulate you on this richly deserved award.
Your legacy has transcended the business. You've done a phenomenal job with your career and assisting the career of others. I know you've meant a lot to me.
What I admire most about you is you advocated and supported us even when you became our competitors. John, I wish you the best of luck through your future endeavors. But as we all know, you don't have many hobbies, so you might as well keep working. Good luck, my friend.